Just you and I, get another lie. Can't you see? Since 1969, Manor Manufacturing has been on the market with Chloride Super Bleach. Chloride, the most. Do not be fooled by the other brands in similar back. Look for the original Chloride. Clora. Chloride, for quality you can trust. Chloride, the original brand. Chloride has been serving Liberia since 1969. Look for the spelling Clora. Chloride, the original brand, is manufactured and distributed by Minor Manufacturing Company on Bourgeois Island, Marbletown. Call customer service hotline at 0778 513-514 or 0886-513-514. Minor Manufacturing Company, producers of quality detergent products since 1969. And Minor Manufacturing is the sole sponsor of Minor Barrow Basketball. Minor Manufacturing, quality products made in Liberia since 1969. Chloride, the brand you can trust.
And of course, many thanks for rejoining us on the program this evening, the Brahma Prime 105.5. We have in studio of us a presidential aspirant, Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe, the former president of the Liberian National Bar Association. And as well, he is the political leader, the standard bearer of the Liberia People's Party. He's in studio of us. We're going to be talking about his presidential ambition. He's been taking tour in and around Liberia. And what are some of the feedbacks he's getting from the people on his tour? So he's in studio. He's been escorted by his entourage, some of his supporters too as well, members of his party. But let me take this time to welcome Councillor Gongloe. Let me say good evening and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I think this is my first time on your show.
Okay.
I've been here with Kevin Demin. And so I'm happy to be here. But let me, before we get into it, wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters happy Ramadan. I wish them well. I wish that God will grant all of their wishes. And I wish them good health as they enjoy the Ramadan. But let me say on this that I strongly believe that this day should be declared a national holiday. And when I'm president,
you think so?
And when I'm
on national holiday?
Yes.
Do we have a Christian holiday in Liberia?
On one of
or religious holiday.
One of the first things that I would do when I'm president of Liberia is to make sure that Ramadan is observed as a public holiday. Christmas is the birth of Jesus Christ. It is a Christian holiday. It is seen so universally. It is not a Hindu holiday. It's not an Islamic holiday. It is a Christian holiday. We celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, as we Christians profess. And to enhance religious tolerance in this country, I strongly believe there should be national recognition of this holy day, Ramadan. In West Africa, every country in West Africa, except Liberia, and I think Cape Verde, but in the Maroon region, we are the only ones who are not observing this day as a holiday. Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, which is a big Catholic country, Guinea, all have this day as a holiday. Ghana, Gambia, Senegal. Most of the countries in West Africa observe this day as a holiday.
Many have always argued that Liberia was built on a Christian principle. That's been one of the argument or the major argument.
But that does not give Christians any superior right in Liberia. I'm a Christian. I don't think historically and even by law Christians have superior right. our country is a secular state. Historically, the Muslims were here before 1847. That's what history is. If you read the history book written by Sir Harry Johnson that was published in 1906, he says by 1906 there were over, I think he said there were 2 million Mohammedans here. That's how he referred to the Muslims. And let's face it, from the Du River down Waterside up to the Sierra Leone border, every family there traces its root to Islam. The Dane, the Gola, the Vai, the Bele, the Pele, and I've traveled all over and I see clear evidence of that. People in Cape Man bombing Bapolo, and even that part of Monserrato, Bilema, Douala, all these places will tell you my grandfather was a Muslim, my father was a Muslim, my mother was a Muslim. The Christian families there are newer than the Muslim families. And if you travel to Cape Man bombing and Bapolo, when you speak, even at public gathering, they always say Amina. Amina, which comes from the Arabic, expression. All of them have. Even Christians will say Amina. So, and then when you go to Lofa, the Bandis, and a sizable population of the Kisis, you go to Kwadugono, the Madingos there. You go to Nimba County. It's not only Madingo now in Nimba. The chief imam of Nimba County, unless he has been changed, but the last time I checked was Chief Imam Siawe. That's a Dahame. When I was in Tapata last year on my trip, the imam who gave the benediction, he read a lot of things in Arabic, and the way he was dressed with his long beard and having all the Islamic clothing, I really thought he was out of Madingo or Vai. And he sat by me and said, "Oh no, I'm a Maname, I'm from Kino, somewhere around Yikepa." And he and I spoke perfect manner. Imam Krai is not Madingo also. So, it is a religion that is spreading just as Christianity is spreading. And I think to the extent that Christians feel so comfortable here nationally, to enhance our national unity and reconciliation, it's important to give national recognition to the most important holiday.
It's important. Is it expedient?
It is important. It is expedient because it is better for us to remain reconciled, to remain united, because our differences will undermine peace. If we do not give Muslims credence, the kind of credence that they should have as citizens of this country practicing their faith, some person who act in bad faith for political reasons maybe start some conflict, in this country. And for me, I prefer us having that one day accorded to them than for the argument to be used.
Even though the day is not specified, because you have this controversy, and others will maybe go ahead today to observe the Ramadan, or the next day. You don't have a specified date.
And that's not a problem because I did research. Some people this year are observing on the 21st. Some people are observing on the 22nd. And some countries are observing on the 23rd. So that's okay. As long as the whole nation is observing on a particular day, that's fine. I don't see any problem with that.
You are a politician, Councillor Gongloe. This could mean your support base, you have the Christianity and that of people from the Muslim background. This could maybe hamper some of your supporters from the Christian faith.
That would be out of
your statement to say, okay, when I become president, I will give these people a public holiday. it could undermine your presidential ambitions.
There's a difference in creating an Islamic state or a Christian state. I'm opposed to any religious dominance in this country because we are a secular state. But to accord everyone that practices religious faith national recognition is what should happen. It is in order for every citizen of Liberia to feel a part of this nation. You see, Islam came here through trade and teaching, and it's been very tolerant, just as the Christians have been tolerant. There are few extremists among the Christians and the Muslims who want some religious conflict, but they have never gotten off the ground in this country. Religious bigotry is not good. It undermines peace and security. Everyone wants to be accepted as full citizens in every country. And that is what is lacking here right now. If you say, for example, no student who is a Muslim that does not go to school on Ramadan Day will be punished. But on that day, the teacher will be teaching, which means the student will not learn on that day. Even though the teacher will not punish that student, but because the teacher is teaching Christians or non-Muslims who are in school on that day, the students who are Muslim then don't benefit from getting the education they should get. Whereas if the day is declared holiday and everyone observes that, then they will not lose any learning opportunity. More than that, let's be real and practical. In this country, I know on Christmas Day, a lot of my Muslim brothers and sisters and clients bring me gifts, bring me Christmas gift and tell me Merry Christmas. Today, I saw a lot of Christians calling on the radio and wishing their Muslim brothers happy Ramadan, showing that level of tolerance. So what is wrong with legalizing the importance of this day by giving it national prominence and making it a public holiday? In that way, the Muslims will not lose any right, any opportunity that the state provides.
Well, Liberians are listening to you. Councillor Tiawan Gongloe said, in fact, when he's elected, he's going to ensure that Muslims have a public holiday in Liberia. But let's move forward, Councillor Gongloe. We have just a few months to the October election. Tell Liberians your clear-cut vision for this country.
Okay, so I have a 10-point agenda for the second item on the agenda is anti-corruption, to combat corruption.
Is that the first agenda?
As part of the first is rule of law.
Rule of law.
Rule of law. And part of rule of law is actually maintaining a governance process that is anti-corrupt. All right? So that Liberia at least become a less corrupt country or become corruption free. So I have a 12-count prescription, all right, for combating corruption. I'm not going to go through all that. I'm just saying what the plans are. Then I have 4 life-changing agenda items on the 10-point agenda that I like to always talk about because it's resonating well with everyone throughout the country. First, rule of law, on the rule of law, I want every citizen of this country and every resident of this country to be treated equally under the law. There will be no, who I am under my administration. So I will issue an executive order in the first 100 days, maybe even the first month, that any government official, especially from the executive, that interferes or undermines police operation will be dismissed immediately. Because if the police is not allowed to do its work professionally and some big shot interferes with it, it undermines the rule of law. And in America, for example, if a senator, I like to give that example as an official government, a senator or a secretary, they call ministers as secretary. commits a traffic offense, he gets the same ticket that a janitor gets when he commits a traffic offense. That is what we call equality before the law. We have to do that. The president, everybody has to be under the ambit of the law. So I will do that. Issue another executive order for non-interference or with the independence of the judiciary, from the magistrate court to the Supreme Court, that there will be no interference with what sheriff court officers will do, what judges will do. And if you do it, I will dismiss you from a government. Most often it's ministers and high officials of government and executive that tend to intimidate police officers and magistrates and court officers. When we do that, we will then set the tone and create a proper environment for socio-economic development. On corruption, I'm not going to name all I would do, but the first thing I would do is to start an open governing process whereby my asset value, my asset will be declared and value will be published. My entire asset will be published on the internet, in the newspaper, and on the radio. I will also put my salary and benefits on the internet and in the newspapers. I will require that of all officials of government I appoint. I will publish the salaries and benefits of all officials of government in the 3 branches of government, and the high level and low level. I will also publish the salaries and benefits of civil servants, so Liberians can see the disparity between the lowest paid civil servant and the highest paid official in the executive branch of government, for example, like ministers or even president pro tem or speaker. When you see some of the salaries, it would take some employees of government.
Now we're going back to the same harmonization, what the people cry around.
No, I'm not talking about. We might probably harmonize civil servants, nurses, law enforcement officers, and
downward harmonization,
and teachers' salary upward.
Okay.
And bring down the politicians' salary, harmonize it downwards. The politicians, civil servants, the civil servants are the engine of every governance system. They have to be taken care of, well, because they run the government. Teachers, nurses, police officers, the civil servants, we have to take care of them. But why is it important to put salaries and benefits in the paper? If I appoint you a minister and you are from, say, Southtown, Bomika, the right across the Po River, and then your salary, benefits, and everything, and even your assets, total value is not even $70,000, right? And then you are a minister in 3 months, you start building a $500,000 house in Southtown. The young people will call the radio station and talk about it and say, this minister is stealing, because listen, we see his asset value, we see what is worth in terms of his pay and benefits throughout the year. So where is he bringing money from to pay $500,000 house? When I hear it as president, I just call you and say, it's true, you build a house. I will dismiss you immediately. Then you don't enjoy my pleasure anymore, because you are a political appointee is appointed based on the will and pleasure of the president. It is the will that leads to your appointment. The pleasure is how you perform. And so I fire you because you don't enjoy my pleasure anymore. I turn you over to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission for full investigation and prosecution. Okay. And when you are found guilty, you go to jail for 5 to 10 years. And then all of your money and assets will be taken from you through the legal process. And then I strongly believe that if 5 ministers are in jail, all their properties are taken away for 10 years each, and their family members are suffering, no other minister will want to steal again.
And then this brings me to the question, many times people wait to get in government or to become leader before they start to structure their government. As opposition, you're almost like government in waiting. Do you have a structured government in waiting that will help you implement all of these plans?
I always tell people, There are more qualified people in Liberia than
Do you have your structured government? Do you have your justice minister?
I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to block the way for people. Yes. You're trying to honor my campaign. I say, oh, I already have my government waiting.
But opposition is government.
That's fine.
Opposition is government waiting. So it means that you would need
to
have trusted people to work.
These ideas that I'm giving you are for trusted people. It's bound. They are not just my own ideas. These are ideas that have been vetted by the like-minded people.
So you have your government waiting already?
No, I'm not going to say I have government waiting. I have.
You have people who
are qualified and ready to work from day one.
So you know.
So I'm not going to say I have a government waiting, but there are people who are supporting me in Liberia and from all around the world who are Liberians, who are competent, and have the passion, commitment, and honesty to produce a better Liberia.
You've been key on this issue of road connectivity in Liberia. Where do you stand?
Which is one of my, anybody who tells you, oh, within 5 years or 10 years, I will connect all the country capitals with payroll is lying to you. It's capital intensive. But what I can assure you is that when I'm president, the freedom of movement of the Liberian people will not be hindered or denied or violated in any way, because I will keep the roads maintained.
Do you have technocrats in that particular direction to guide you in the process?
There are.
Have they been able to tell you how long it takes you to connect this entire country?
And let me say this. I grew up in Liberia. I already saw what Tubman did, what Talbot did, what Doe did. There were public work yards all over the country. There were 9 counties. And every county had several public work yards. For example, in my own county in Nimba, there was one in Ganta. There was one in Wetu. There was another one in Tapeta. And then there was one in Kample. These 4 public work yards were used to maintain the roads during the dry season. The caterpillars were on the roads, making the road even and laying the gutters so that during rainy season, when it rained, the roads were easily drained. That happened every year. And so when I lived in Tapeta, I never heard one day that the road from Tapeta to Ganda got cut off. Even one day, I never heard that the road from Zwaju to Tapeta got cut off one day, because they were well maintained. Those same ideas, I intend to bring them back. While we are gradually paving the roads, the roads should be maintained. I never heard one day that the road from Foya to Banga was cut off one day. I never heard that the road from Bubulu to Monrovia was cut off one day. These roads were maintained because there were yellow machines that were there, and there was a road maintenance training institute on the Buchanan Highway, that was brought there by the Germans through the German government, and they train yellow machine operators, and they train people how to maintain the roads, how to build roads. All of these things were happening internally. And because they were happening, our roads were good. And when you have good roads, it promotes peace and security, because you see, if somebody attacks your country, you can move your troops quickly. Or if there's any conflict anywhere, you want to move the police force, that they can move quickly. But more than that, if someone is sick in one village and you want to move the person to a good hospital, the ambulance can move quickly and the person will survive. Today, it is not possible in many parts of Liberia. The highway in southeastern Liberia, for example, the highway in Lofa County, especially coming from when you finish where they are building the paved road, and you get on the lateral road in Lofa County, from there to Foya and other parts of Lofa. I couldn't even go to Vaughan because the road is so bad. Everyone told me, if you get on the road, none of your cars will go back to Monrovia. We need to change that situation. That's a story that I want to change. I want to be a Liberian president that will change Liberia, the current story in Liberia, for better.
And you can
the story is very bad.
You can assure Liberians that in 6 years you will be able to connect this entire country.
No, I will never say that. It is not possible. Even in America, now all roads are paved. I live there. But the roads are maintained.
Okay.
That what I can assure Liberians is I will make sure that the roads are maintained. In my first year in government, there will be at least 10 to 15 caterpillars put on the southeastern Liberian road. That's an international highway that leads to Ivory Coast. It should be maintained. You know, look, from Kilipo Kanweken to Bipo Kanweken, that's in River G. My schedule in southeastern Liberia was embarrassed, and I had to keep telling people, I'm sorry, I couldn't come, I'm sorry, because in Kilipo Kanweken, I completed my awareness program there, encouraging people to register to vote at 5 o'clock. And the people are waiting for me in Bipo Kanweken at 6 o'clock. Normally, I've been on that road since 1979. And those from southeastern Liberia who I've been there would know. It is a 20 to 30 minutes drive, depending on the condition of the road, when the road is all right. Because there have been times when you could go 70 miles per hour on that road, you go 20 minutes, and you'll be in Bipo Kanweken. But I left 5 o'clock from Kilipo Kanweken and arrived in Bipo Kanweken at 1 a.m. the next morning. Okay. Everybody was sleeping. You see how my program was disturbed. And why? As soon as we left the town, we reached a mud, and I thought it was something. The first mud we saw, I started throwing shovel, helping to fix the road, not knowing the bigger mud was ahead. As soon as we passed that, we saw over 20 trucks and tankers stuck in the mud, couldn't move. And so we were there. I managed to cross the mud. I rolled up my trousers, took off my shoes and socks, and walked across the mud. I got across the mud around 6 o'clock or so. And I was there waiting. Normally, I go to bed between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So my body is accustomed to that. At 9:30, I saw myself extremely sleepy. So I picked leaves and put them on the ground, bare ground, and started sleeping. Snake could have bitten me that night. It was around 12:30 that one of the president of Ethiopia knocked me. Said, "Papi, get up. Our cars have crossed the sun." I was lying there dreaming, thinking in my bed. I woke up around 12:30 and I realized that there was a vehicle on the road, a pickup that had a very sick lady in it, and they were taking her to people to go to the hospital or maybe Kipamas. But I said, "What's that sick lady? The car that is sick lady?" I said, "Cross." They said, "No, it's still stuck in the mud." I said, "But we can't leave her." But then the pickup was so loaded, it was carrying a load for a truck in that pickup. So to get a Toyota Land Cruiser Jeep to hold that truck spoiled my full wheel. We managed to get it out, but the end is I paid more than $1,000 to get the full wheel repaired. But that's the kind of experience on that road. And I like the fact that I experienced it. Because you see, if you want to be president of this country and to change Liberia's story, to transform the country, you have to go and see the condition under which the people are living. And not by flying, but going, getting these kinds of experiences that I had. And I had in many, many places in southeastern Liberia. Just leaving Tapeta to get a blood dialer, we were in a mud. It took us over an hour to get a blood dialer, maybe almost 2 hours. And to get a Sister River Bridge between Grand Jile and Nimba, it took us like 3 hours. But the good thing is the kind of reception that we got on the trip. It made me to even forget all the difficulties.
And this is where we drop it. What are you getting?
We were well received on arrival in Grand Jile. Okay. Over 25 young people on over 25 motorcycles came to receive us. Like a president arriving with, blowing a horn and going. And so everybody knew that someone important was coming to the country. Although on the way it was drizzling, they didn't care. They were so excited. So we got to Town, we met the people there a little bit late, and we left from there. We went to Zleta. People were waiting for us. Zleta, we got there around 9 o'clock. Even though we could have been there by 6, because we left total around 5:30, we could have been there by 7 o'clock or so. Everybody had gone to bed. When we slept in Portstown is my adopted town in grandchildren. In 2009, when our minister of labor, we did a project, and then I wanted to dedicate the project, and I slept in the town 2 nights. So they say, you are man from Nimba, come and sleep in the middle of the forest in Grand Jeddah County without any soldier around you. You have, by this singular action, strengthening the reconciliation process and unity, try to restore the unity that existed between Grand Jeddah and Nimba prior to the conflict. So we name you Puliyon. Puliyon in crime means savior.
Wow.
Yeah, liberator. It's a good name. And I've had strong relationship with the people of Grand Jeddah since 2009. And it was even enhanced in 2013 when I represented 18 Grand Jeddans who were charged with mercenarism and had no lawyer to represent them. And the thing is, I represented them free of charge. They didn't have money, and they came from all of the districts of Grand Jeddah. So in Grand Jeddah, the people showed their gratitude by the way they received me everywhere I went.
Okay. Councillor Gongloe, you are about to take over a country that the health sector is crumbling. The educational sector is in shambles. Moreover, Liberia's debt portfolio has gone up to $1 billion now. How do we intend to handle this entire issue, especially in the debt portfolio of our country, where you can rely on to carry on development initiatives in the country? How do we intend to handle this?
So the thing is, you talk about education. Let me tell you how what I'm going to do in the educational sector. I had tears in my eyes in the towns I went to in the 13 countries. A lot of children are not in school. When you ask them and say, what class are you? I'm in the first grade, I'm in the second grade, I'm in the third grade. But why are you not in school? My mom ain't get money. Some single mothers. My pa ain't get money. Or my mom and pa say they ain't get money. I went to school, first grade, second grade, up to fourth grade. I didn't pay money because I was in government school. It was only in the fifth grade that my father sent me to Catholic school. Why should any child be left behind in this country because their parents don't have money? When I become president, every Liberian child will go to school from kindergarten to 12th in all government schools without paying any fee. And their copybooks, their pencils, pens, and textbooks, and the food they eat will be provided.
How do you intend to do that?
So we'll do that. This country is very rich. You see, we're talking about fighting corruption, and we will cut down waste. A lot of unnecessary travels of the president. When the president travels, a lot of people travel. When I travel, I will travel maybe with not more than 5 persons. You don't even need security in other poor countries because when you go there, they take care of you, right? We need to keep a very low traveling budget, and that would be for everyone in the government. The travels will be necessary in the countries that we have ambassadors in, or where the ambassadors are near. We will send ambassadors on missions, and they will report to us to cut down cost. We'll do a lot of things to cut down cost. We'll not be buying $100,000 vehicles, very expensive vehicles for all these ministers and managing directors and all of that. Wasteful spending will not be here. Nobody in my government will be making like a happiness salaries more than people in the United States.
How do we intend to address the health sector?
The health sector, we intend to, and let me say in the education sector, we'll open free trade schools for other young people to learn mechanical work, carpentry, or other trades. We'll also eliminate illiteracy in 2 years by giving stipend to junior high students, senior high students, and where they are college students, to do an after-school teaching program of at least 10 illiterate people in their communities. Health, we will tackle the health program first by issuing a proclamation that every pregnant woman, every child under the age of 5, every Liberian 65 years old will not pay 1 cent in a government hospital and clinic. And we'll ensure that government hospitals and clinics are better than private hospitals and clinics. This is what we'll do. As president, I will pay surprise visits to government hospitals and clinics. Of course, I will check from the Minister of Finance whether he had disbursed what is in the budget to the clinic in Bogeza. And I go to Bogeza, and then when I come, I go to Bogeza for full medical checkup. And they say, Mr. President, when you get AB, when you get this, when you get the equipment, when you get medicine, I will fire the head of the hospital knowing that you have received the money, and I will send it to the police for full investigation to account for what government have put there. Another time I will go to the J.J. Dozen Hospital in Kipamos, I like to call it often. Next time I go to when I have time, another surprise visit to Rappersport. Next time I'm going to the hospital in Ripple weekend or Fishtown, or I go to Boajiken, where I was the other day in Grand Cru. When you do this, and about 10 heads of hospitals and clinics are dismissed, and some of them are in jail, trying to account for the things that government put there, people will be afraid. Equipment that government put budget for will be there. The medicine that government budget will be there. Because I strongly believe that if a government clinic or hospital is not good for the president, then it's not good for any citizen also.
And so with all of these plans, how do you intend to address all of these things when your government will be confronted with huge national and international debt portfolio?
That will always be. We'll be fighting to pay the debt. There are countries that I look up to. I look up to Botswana. I look up to Tanzania. There's several examples that I look up to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll manage whatever we have economically. I'm an economist by profession. We'll make sure that we don't engage in conspicuous consumption. Spending, all these big holiday celebrations and big programs. Like I said, buying big cars, big delegations and all of that. We will not be showy. We'll be very careful how we manage the resources of the country. So we'll be paying our debt and slowing down more debt, but managing what we have here. Look, sometimes I learned something under President Sawyer. For 4 years, he was interim president. Of course, a lot of people accusing him of corruption and all of that. But let me tell you, there were only 2 sources of income under the administration. Mm-hmm. Custom duties from the port. At what time, not many people were paying property taxes here, and it would have been heartless to even get on people for property taxes because people were barely managing to live. And the maritime fund. Those are the 2 major sources of funding. The government was not qualified to get debt. It could not, for 4 years, the interim government could not get debt from any country. Yet, it was managing and paying salaries on time. And guess what? We had a big payroll burden because we wanted to make the Taylor side, to make everybody run away from Taylor side and come here. So teachers were coming from, all government employees were coming from what they call Greater Liberia at that time, mm-hmm. and coming, and so you ordered that everybody on the payroll should be paid. And teachers, nurses, all these people were being paid that time. Of course, we heard that some of the supervisors of school in Monrovia were eating people's salaries because the teachers won't come. Some of the teachers have died and all of that. But we were able to manage a whole the national payroll, although everybody was not working, with the meager income we got from maritime and from custom duties at the Freeport of Monrovia. We didn't have the Port of Buchanan on our control, so only Freeport.
Okay.
So I know, when you're a mechanic boy, you learn to be a mechanic. I worked in the office of the president before on a very difficult situation, and I learned a lot while I was there.
Councillor Gongloe, and there have been this public call for opposition collaboration to unseat President George Weah in October. Where do you stand regarding the possible collaboration?
I have never talked about the objective of my effort or even our political party does not speak like that. No, let's just organize to remove George Weah. Then what happens 1 hour after Joshua? I think the Liberian people are more interested in a better governance plan. That's why I have the 10-point agenda for better Liberia. And you explain it to the Liberian people, and when they see your track record and what you say, and they think that their future is better served by what you are saying, then they will vote for you. But to just say, our objective as an opposition is to unseat Joshua, you don't speak. I don't speak like that.
You don't see that as a reason to unseat President Weah.
Except to say,
do you see the possibility of unseating President Weah in October?
No, I strongly believe that Weah is no more a factor. In fact,
you think so?
No, Weah is not. Liberians have decided.
You will be defeating in October, right?
I'm saying Weah will be defeated.
Okay.
All right? But you'll be defeated not because the objective is just to unseat him. You'll be defeated because you have not managed the country well. And based on some of us track record in government, outside government, and the plan that I have for better Liberia, I can see that by that time, more Liberians will be convinced that I have a better plan. And if you check my track record, people check on me every day. And let me say, one example of love of country and commitment to this job I want is the fact that I left my family on December 24th. I slept in Owens Grove, and then on New Year's Day, I was in Compound 2 in Grand Bassa County. I went everywhere. I spent the Christmas and New Year's season in Grand Bassa.
Yeah, but you've been spending plenty Christmas too now.
With my family.
We have seen many Christmas.
There is no presidential aspirant or candidate in the history of Liberia that has left his family to spend Christmas and New Year outside of home. So that is the extent to which I'm prepared to sacrifice for Liberia. I'm even prepared to sacrifice my life across the Cestus River. Went upstream from a distance like from Broadville to Carisburg, went upstream to a town called Pakwai. And when I got there and I was wearing gown, I was not even dressed I didn't have a life jacket. And I must say I was inappropriately dressed because I was in this motorized kino. It took me 35 minutes to reach Pakwai.
Are you willing?
And I was asked the question in Pakwai. What got you brave? Even all our officials in the river says yesterday there's Niji in the river. Nobody comes here. So why are you coming? What got you brave? My answer was swift. I am prepared to sacrifice everything for Liberia. There is no sacrifice, no risk that is too big for me to take for Liberia. I want to be president for Liberians in Monrovia, in Shasta City, and the ones across the river.
This means that Councillor Gongloe is not willing to go to any collaboration.
Well, let me educate the public about collaboration. People are only thinking about president and vice president. But if I'm running as an independent candidate, that is probably possible. But I'm from the Liberian People's Party, and nobody has engaged the Liberian People's Party on collaboration.
Or engage you personally?
They shouldn't engage me personally. I'm a product of a political party that elected.
That's where the discussion starts from.
No one has made that proposal to me.
Okay.
All right. But assuming that somebody say, I want you to be vice president or standard bearer, and I be vice president to you. The question at this time, few months away from the election, what do we do with our senatorial candidates and representative candidates? Because it's a whole package. In these arrangements, they can do what they call horse trading. Okay, so this party, do you have an incumbent senator or representative? Yes. But then which county? Okay, since you have an incumbent senator in that country, then we'll not feel a senatorial candidate in that county. We'll feel a senatorial candidate in this country. We'll tell our supporters to campaign and vote for your senatorial candidate. Please tell your own supporters to vote for our own senatorial candidate. Okay, we have 9 districts, for example, in Nima, or let's say 17 districts in Montserrat. Okay, we are 2 parties or 3 parties together. Let's divide the districts. Let's say, okay, let's say this district, your party should take it. District 1, District 2, let the next party take it. District 3, let the next party take it. and let's go until we reach
And you
17.
you got to prolong.
It's
a long process before the
time
election.
we don't have that time right now.
So
it could have
question.
happened. It could have happened maybe a
Last
year or two ago.
Yeah.
Because right now, as I speak, maybe the other aspirants are in some parts of Liberia and or out of the country. We just don't have that time now to sit down and do this detailed discussion and even agree on how we'll structure the government and run it. You are asking me already that I have my people. True, I have people. I'm scouting people, and then
you say you don't have anybody for now.
No, I have people. I say I have some people, and I'm scouting. Election day, maybe before election day, I might some. So it's never done until it's done. So I'm saying the time to sit down now and do the detailed discussion in a way that when you take the action, it will not undermine what you want to do, because some people will get discouraged and walk away with their people, their supporters, and that will undermine what we are trying to do. Because in the end, you must have ready and willing voters to actually cast ballots. So you got to be careful as you move in the process so that you don't discourage people.
Councillor Tiawan Saye Gongloe is a political leader of the Liberia People's Party. He's our guest on a program this evening on the Brom on Prime 105.5. For those of you listening to the program,
you call it the Brom?
The Brom. Oh. No, not the Broom, or the Brom. The Brom. So for those of you following the program this evening, call us on 0770 1051. 0770 1051, 0770 1051, and as well call us on 086 050507.
And before you take your first call, you didn't talk about an important thing, the rice we eat. I want to transform this country, change Liberia's story from being a rice importer to rice exporter by mechanized rice production.
And I guess it's all part of your plans for...
Yes.
And then
how the rice business, because you eat rice in Liberia, you have not eaten.
How do you intend to do that?
So government will buy rice producing machines, farming machines, rice farming machines, and distribute them among the farmers in 15 counties as a loan, which they will pay back gradually through the rice production.
Mechanized
farming. In other words, instead of using cutlass to make farm, a caterpillar will be clearing. The place that 1,000 people can take 1 week to clear, caterpillar can clear 1 day. And through that, we'll make big rice farms like Firestone, all rice. And we'll also declare war against hunger and give war machines to the military, which would be all farming tools for the army to
in the 15 counties.
For the army to produce not less than 100 acres of rice farm in each of the 15 counties. And when the farmers are producing rice using machines and the army producing rice using machines, I can clearly see with 5 million people that will produce in excess of what we need and will be a rice exporter.
Okay, Councillor Gongloe. This person, hello, good evening. Thanks for joining.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. You live on Prime FM. Let's hear you.
Thank you for giving the time. I want to say good evening to Councillor Gongloe. My name is Cllr. I'm somebody who follows me. I really love his platform and what he's doing. I've been following his work. But since his deliberation on the radio this afternoon, I have some concern, and I want to ask him about.
Go ahead.
He talked about when he becomes president, he will legislate a holiday. He will make Ramadan a holiday in Nigeria. I think he's doing it in good faith. And my only problem to it is that my knowledge, to my knowledge, I know very well that Christmas was legislated in Liberia in 1948, prior to the 1986 Constitution that declares Liberia a secular state. So now that Liberia is a secular state, how is he going to legislate a religious holiday?
Okay.
And how is he going to come against those who are not, religious, who are not Christians or Muslims?
Thank you. Right? Thank you. Let me hold you right and take another person. We don't have the lawsuit. Oh, the feedback. Yeah. Thank you. But the feedback, you almost want to.
Yeah.
What? Go ahead. No time. 30 seconds. Let's hear you. Your name. What?
Go
ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I want to ask the councillor. Councillor, most of the time when you So when you become president, when you are president, so you get to know that no like or you have anybody.
But they may control the country resources. My man, they may control the country resources. Ah, I mean, Thank you, Chief. Thank you. We need to get a call. We'll have limited time. We have less than 2 minutes to go. Councillor Gongloe.
So let me tell him, when our Minister of
just
Labor,
wrap up in a minute.
well, I want to go to that man. When our Minister of Labor, I increased the work permit, I issued regulation number 17, which increased the work permit fee from $400 for foreigners to get work permit to work here to $1,000 when I did it. They laid off a lot of foreign employees and Liberians got jobs. That is what I did there. And then I completed a labor law that makes right to strike a fundamental right of workers. And there's too many good things in that labor law. Liberia was the first country to produce a labor law based on the decent work doctrine of the ILO, the International Labour Organization. I mean, as Solicitor General, I was the first Solicitor General to make sure that all the candidate attorneys in Liberia are law school graduates. Before I got there, some of them were not high school graduates. So now, today, all the candidate attorneys in Liberia are law school graduates. This was done by me from 1847 until I became Solicitor General. It did not happen. That's what you do with power, but most times the seditionists will say, well, what was George Weah's handmark before you elected him president? What was President Sullivan's handmark? What was Taylor's handmark? What are these people? So don't give me an unfair prescription that you did not give to other people before you elected them. Yeah. Okay. So and I will not talk about personal things that I've done before. I've sent so many people to school, but I'm a Christian. I'm not supposed to talk about things that I do.
Okay. Yeah. You already finished talking. Thank you ever so much.
No, I didn't. I said many people. I didn't call names.
Oh.
If I said John Derrida, but I said
you sent many people to school.
I sent many people to school.
Thank you, Councillor.
It doesn't affect anybody.
Thank you for honoring our invitation on the program, The Brom. Thank you so much for coming.
I will always come here.